think we do it in a multitude of ways. One is just how you interact via media and how you get them interested in your existing products, right? And so that can happen many ways. I think we're stuck in the kind of old world of commercials and creating those. We've just created a new Scotty the Scotsman commercial that you'll see out there in your linear cable. But there's different ways to interact with them, whether it be through social media, through other digital and search media. So we're always exploring those new ways. And I would say we're always probably challenging ourselves, saying we're underinvested in those new ways to reach them. They are engaged in the category, definitely. And we see that every day. But how they interact is obviously different than like a boomer generation or like myself, a Gen Xer. On the D2C front, we've invested in that quite a bit over the past, I'd say, 5 years. And in not just with like Amazon partnering with them, but with also our other key partners. And I think where that's morphed is not so much just providing that product to those companies that are online and through a direct to consumer, but also working with our retail partners to see how do we improve foot traffic in stores, or how do they interact with that similar generation, so that our marketing strategies are more tied together. And so I'd say that's where a lot of that's been changing. I think initially 5 years ago, or however many years ago, was we just need to get in the space, right? And now it's, okay, well, how do we morph that strategy? How do we interact with them better? And then how do we help our customers, who are the big retailers out there, also reach that generation? Because they'll run our products on their ads, and it's a relationship that we need to work closely with them on, so that we can both reach those generations. During the pandemic, we learned that lawn and garden was essential to the consumer and to everyone out there. As people hunkered down or sheltered and kind of stayed in their homes, they turned to gardening, they turned to their lawns and taking care of it. And that just showed that, we meant a lot to them. Now, it created a lot of friction and disruption in how we met their demand, because like I said, 15 years of sales volume in 2 years, it's pretty incredible. So we had to build an infrastructure to support that. And unfortunately, the volume, people going back to work, traveling more and stuff, we're starting to see the boomerang effect of that, obviously, the past 2 years. And it's been super disruptive to our business. So we've had to, I would say in some areas violently, other areas not so violently, kind of deconstruct some of the infrastructure we've had to do. I'd say during COVID, with that amount of extreme volatility, a lot of our planning went out the window, right? Because you didn't really you were like, well, are they all going to stay? Is that volume really going to be there? And I think since then we've gotten back to more of our, I'll call back to basics, a discipline on a monthly, quarterly basis, both at the lower levels and then also with our leadership, of really just setting out a goal, reasonable goals. Now we can look at more, we're a consumer products company and we may only grow 2 to 3% a year now, instead of 15, 20% in 1 year, which is just super extreme. And so that just has helped us with our capital planning and then working with our bank partners. I mean, imagine giving a bank partner a budget, and then next thing you know, you're overperforming it by 20%. And then the next year, you're underperforming it by 20%. That's pretty extreme. And they want some stability, and hopefully we can bring that going forward. I'd just say Scotts Miracle-Gro is an incredible company. It's been, I think, over 150 years in existence. To me, it's one of the American kind of essential companies that's out there, both for your yard and through the Scotts products, whether it's grass seed fertilizer, and then Miracle-Gro with plant food and stuff. So it's incredible. It's based in Marysville, Ohio, and couldn't be more American than that.